Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host, Louisa. Today is September 20th, 2018, and this is a very special GoldFish Report. We have our returning friends with us. We have Winston with us. How are you, Winston?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Thanks for being with us. And of course, we have our friend Scott Werner with us. How are you, Scott?
I'm absolutely terrific and feel like the world is going to survive and we're going to all be good.
That's a good message. And today, Scott and Winston are going to talk about a message that Saint Germain has regarding the, I guess, this energy that we're feeling and all kinds of energy and our abilities, how they're affecting us, how it affects our abilities to perceive the world and to communicate with each other, how to stay in a positive energy and thought process versus this chaotic social consciousness that has been socially engineered for us. So this has to do with 5G, has to do with how to protect ourselves from 5G and other types of, I would say, electromagnetic or electronic fog or uh, I guess it would be called fog. E-fog, I think, is the new term. So let's hear what Saint Germain has to say. Thanks for coming and bringing this message. It's always very timely. He's always timely. Always has the
Oh,
right message at the right time.
I just love that I've got this connection with Saint Germain because he's just right on the mark every time, and his messages have so much hope and beauty and love. Now, he wanted me to start out with a quote from Jesus where he says, "I am the open door which no man can shut." Now, that's an important message because it really tells us who's in charge. And with that open door, he always says, knock and it shall be open to you, but he's telling us it's always open to us. And so, what Saint Germain wants me to tell you today is that no matter what the chaos is going on, no matter how polarized or emotionally charged everybody is, we need to pay attention to the peace of the open door from the Christ consciousness. And what is Christ consciousness? It is the love of God. Now, the love of God is an interesting, all-encompassing thing. In John in the New Testament, John talks about how God is the light of the world and how God is love, and that's all God is. And so, what we have to do is enter into that open door of the love of God, and we will have peace. We will have love, we will have knowledge that will help us get through this process. We're in one of the most exciting times on the planet Earth. I mean, literally, there are alien species from all over the universe here on our planet at this time to watch what's happening. And it's been prophesied in the Bible, it's been prophesied in the Torah, it's been prophesied in all of the sacred writings. Greg Braden is one of my favorite writers, and he talks about how exciting this time is. And the humans who are in charge, who are possessed by the reptilians, who are trying to control the planet, they don't want to have happen what's going to happen. And it's going to happen no matter what they do. And we are going to evolve. And so that's the message from Saint Germain is no, we have already won, even though it looks like we have not. And because the future has been seen, it has literally, all time isn't linear. in this third dimension. In this third dimension, it's linear, but in every other dimension, everything's already happened. And in fact, we create our timelines, but the timelines coincide with what God created with his love. And the love of God created a beautiful timeline. And just know and have peace in your heart, knowing that the love of God is going to take care of us. It's going to filter out all the crap that these nasty humans are doing, and the aliens controlling them. It's going to filter it out, and God's love will prevail. So just know that.
So you said that they're watching us. Is it like a movie to them, or is it, are they here for the show, or, is it their entertainment, or what?
We are so dang entertaining to them. Humans are like just out of this world, out of control. I mean, you look at what's going on, and the chaos, it's like a movie. Only it's so real to us because, we're living in the illusion. But the truth of the matter is God is in charge, and God's not going to let the evil prevail. The love is going to prevail. And so Saint Germain wants to tell you, have faith in God. Know that the door is open, and all we have to do is go through that door, and you will realize that everything is just as it should be. The chaos isn't real. It's being projected on us by computer systems, the nanobots, and the implants that the humans have in their bodies is creating the emotional charge and making them think thoughts that are not correct, that are not in congruence with the plan of God.
When you say implants, you're talking about, you said before, the vaccines. You want to explain that so people understand what you're meaning?
Well, just because we made nanotechnology. Nano is literally nanometers in size, which is the size of viruses. And so even the flu vaccines can put these nanobots into us, and they have made implants in these nanobots that actually have a hive technology, and they all attach to the nervous system. And the transmissions from our telephones, the TVs, all our communication devices are hooked up to these nanobots, and they project thoughts and feelings and emotional charges to our nervous system and to our causal body, which is the body that holds all the energetic signatures of negativity that we've experienced. And so one of the things Saint Germain wants us to know is that even though we're going to the 5G, and the 5G is going to be very powerful in submitting energetic signatures to these implants and these nanobots that are attached to most people's nervous systems, and emotionally charge them up and make them do things they normally wouldn't do. Most humans are good. Most humans do good. But what they're doing is they're sending these energies to get us angry, to get us pissed off, and make us not think in our own thoughts and in our own auric field. They're charging us up with these particles of energy that create chaos, create anger, create fear. And these are very powerful, but they're the exact opposite of the energies that we receive from God. So the way you know that you're implanted is you're full of these energies of fear, anger, anxiety, panic, just feeling like the end is near. But when you listen and connect to the particles emanating from the great central sun and from the creator of the universe, you feel love, you feel peace, you feel calm. And that's the way you can know the difference of what you're attached to. Now, what do you do when you find out, oh, geez, I'm feeling all the crap that's bad? What do you do? Well, literally, we have the capacity of humans. We are built in the image and likeness of God. We were created in the image and likeness of God. We have the capacity to create or uncreate whatever's going on in our energetic field. And so, what Saint Germain has taught me is you focus your energy to uncreate all the nanobots in your body and uncreate all the negative thoughts in your causal body. So we uncreate the negativity. And what does that do for us? It clears that energy out. It literally uncreates these nanobots. They can be uncreated very easily just through our thoughts and disconnected from our bodies and eliminated from our bodies. We have that capacity. When I was first starting out in this energetic stuff, I would get the flu virus, and the first time I got the flu shot, I got the flu from the flu shot.
Of
So
course.
I decided way back then never to get the flu shot. But every time I got the flu, I was told, visualize that all those flu particles, all those flu viruses become popcorn, and visualize that my immune system becomes little Pac-Man, and they go around eating all of this popcorn. And literally, I would lay down and do this visualization, and I'd be, feeling the flu coming on. I'd feel sicker than crap. But I'd start visualizing these little Pac-Man going around eating up all of the virus, which became popcorn. And within 20 minutes, it'd be gone. And now when I feel the flu coming on, I just automatically go, okay, get rid of it. And within 30 seconds, it's gone. So our capacity to manifest can become even stronger through practice. And so when you feel these negative emotions, you feel the fear, you feel all of the chaos that's going on, focus on those energies and literally uncreate them out of your body. Now, one of the visualizations that Saint Germain taught me was visualize a spark of God coming into your chest. In other words, a little light coming into your chest. And then you just say, expand the light and get rid of all the darkness. And you literally breathe in, expanding that light in your chest, and breathe out, then breathe in, expand that light, and just visualize it dissipating and uncreating all that dark energy, all those fears, all those thoughts of chaos, all of the anxiety and panic and negative thinking. And believe it or not, within 5-6 breaths, you've expanded and all of it is gone out of your body. Our breath is very interesting because not only are we breathing in the oxygen, but we breathe in the prana, or the energy from God. And so when we breathe in through your nose and just project a little light right in the center of your chest and your heart, where your love center is, because you want to expand the love in your body, and visualize that light expanding out with each breath. Expanding again. Breathe out. Breathe in. expand that light, and our auric field actually goes out into the entire universe, believe it or not. And so just expand it throughout the universe. Now, this does a couple of things. Not only does it get rid of the fear, anxiety, and panic and nanobots in your body, but by doing this, it expands it out and helps to clear other people. Isn't that fascinating? Because see, we're all interconnected. And our focusing on peace and love and prosperity and everything being perfect actually can expand out and affect everybody. And when two or more of you are gathered together, you will do more than I have done. This is the words of Jesus. In other words, we can gather in gatherings, and there's a lot of people on the planet doing this right now that are expanding this consciousness. And the more of us that do this and the higher our vibration, the more millions of people we can affect. In fact, one person vibrating in the vibration of pure consciousness love can affect 3 million people. One person.
Yep.
So if we get a bunch of us doing this, think of the consequences of our love going out and calming down the entire planet, clearing the entire planet. Our telepathic abilities are so much more advanced than any of us know. But when we use our heart's love with those intents of our mind, it can expand out and change everything. And that's what Saint Germain's message is we all need to focus on expanding love consciousness, expanding order of the universe instead of the disorder of the chaos. See, if they can keep us in chaos, keep us in fear, they have the upper hand. And by they, I mean the ones who don't want to have happen what God has already implemented and is going to happen. So just take heart and know that the love of God is with every one of us, and we just have to go through that open door and open it up in our own soul, because it's already an open door.
You know, I'm sitting here smiling, you probably noticed, because I love Scott's, Scott is very genuine. How you deliver your message is very genuine, and I think it comes across very sincere to people and very honest. So it's just sometimes it's very, you know, it's just
well, I hope it's a ray of light for everyone.
It is, and it's just sometimes it happens at specific moments and in a certain way, and it just makes you smile. That's all. So look, I mean, yeah, they're trying to divide us. We know that. That's the whole purpose. I think this 5G is, you know, well, they say it's for sterilization. It causes miscarriages. They say that it's microwaving children in the beds, even ourselves. Maybe this is why, of course, you know, I didn't sleep that well because of all those cast iron skillets, but you know. Another story. How are we really going to? We can't stop these frequencies. These are man-made. These are very powerful weapons. What you know, they're really weaponized. I mean, you know, let me not to you know, make a downer or anything here, but I just want to. You know, a lot of people are. This sounds wonderful, and I think you're right. But I think we are up against something pretty serious here, and let me.
So
Okay, it's still
There she is.
recording on my end. I'm going to put it on pause for a second.
Uh-oh, that's all right.
Okay, well, we were just disconnected. So apparently there's some powers that don't want us to get this message out, but we will get it out anyway. The thing is that we don't know if we lost the first part of the recording. So what we're going to do is just repeat a little bit for the benefit of the viewers who might not have heard what the first part of this interview. So Scott has a message from Saint Germain. Winston is joining us as well. This is September 20th. interesting. This was supposed to be the day that the president did the emergency broadcast system test, but there was a report saying that that was going to be postponed until October 3rd. But you never know. Never know.
Let me just, as we were talking, I was taking notes. So let me just hit the high points on my notes to
Okay.
refresh Scott's memory about what he had presented. So, number one, he had referred to the K-17 warriors calling for protection. Then he spoke about the increasing telepathic powers of people and the effect it had. Then he had spoken of implants, physical implants in the form of nanobots and all kind of things like that, and how to uncreate them. And then he referred to the quote by Jesus, "I am the open door which no man can close." And then he was just going into focusing on the ability to uncreate, and he was talking about his technique that he was using to uncreate these nanobots and so forth that we breathe in or injected into us or whatever. So that's kind of a real short recap. Scott, if you want to expand on those, and we can take off from there, I guess.
Yes. Now, if we lost the breath thing, the prana of God comes in with the oxygen. And the prana of God is the energetic signature that feeds our souls. And it's very powerful. So that's why it's important to focus on your breath as you're clearing out the nanobots, clearing out the negative emotions, clearing out the negativity in even our causal field. It will cause us to purify our entire field, which what that does, it makes our manifesting even more powerful. So as you focus on the love of God, you breathe in and breathe that in not only into your chest, but into your heart. Breathe God's love into your heart and visualize a little spark of God in your heart and expand it with each breath coming in. So you literally breathe in and expand that light and love, and then breathe out. Expand that light and love and have it just uncreate and destroy any negativity in your body, any fear, any nanobots, anything that's causing you to be emotionally charged negatively. Breathe in and expand it again, and then keep breathing. As you expand that, you can encompass the entire earth and every human on the earth. So if enough of us are doing this breathing technique, we can actually cause the nanobots to be uncreated in every human on the planet. And so the Kabbalah is just going to have to start over, because they drop these dang things on us in the chemtrails, in the injections from the flu vaccines, the food we're eating that's genetically modified, the air we're breathing, and we can, through that open door of Christ consciousness, open up and just destroy all the negativity and uncreate it out of our bodies and the bodies of all humans on the planet. So just know we are more powerful than we have been led to believe.
Yeah, let me comment on that practice myself. That is the practice I use when I meditate, and that is deep breathing. And I visualize breathing through my nose, the golden white light from source, or as you call it, prana. So I breathe that into my lungs, deep breathing, and then I hold it and I visualize golden sparks from that golden white light to go all through my body, through my spinal column, my head, my legs, my arms, all the way through it. And then when I exhale, I visualize exhaling air in color of either brown or gray. So I'm exhaling what it was the golden sparks had liberated out of my body. So that's been my practice, and it's very much similar to what Scott's talking about here.
No, that's
Yeah.
very helpful, because I think people, I think it's really the thought. Uh, I would say what is like, it's like a thought debris, I would call it, that we have to really, this debridement process we have to go through to get rid of this debris of these thought forms that we have that are,
Yeah.
right. And that's great, Winston. Thank you. And thank you, Scott, both for that, because there's many people who are really stuck. A lot of people are struggling. It's very hard to find this positive this positive center of love, really, because our minds are quite, I would say, burdened by the status that's of the planet, of what's happening on the planet. And it's going very, very slow, the changes. And I think it's really very difficult for some people to try to embrace this, and clear out these negative thought forms that, like you said, are being projected into us through these nanobots, through AI, through the plasma interface on the screen. According to some people who have been on GoldFish Report, this is what they've said, that it's through the plasma, through our phones, through obviously the cell towers. So I know you wanted to talk about this, because is this the only way that we can protect ourselves from these EMF frequencies that are emitted in our, I would say, like I said, electronic fog in our atmosphere?
Absolutely. And we have the key which allows us to step through the veil of the flesh, carrying with us all consciousness that we have generated or accumulated, which is imperfect. And we can transmute it, in other words, raise it into that perfection into which we are going to step through when we go through the open door. So, when Christ taught about him being the open door, we just need to be transmuting our energy and going through the open door of consciousness into that perfection. Now, a lot of people go, well, I don't believe in that, because a lot of us aren't connected through our pineal gland, through all of the fluoride and the chlorine in our water and all of the crap we're going through. Even my dad is an atheist. He goes to church just in case.
That's pretty funny.
There are no atheists in the foxholes.
Oh, he's so funny. He's a good Catholic. He goes to church every frickin' week, but you ask him, well, do you believe in the church? And he goes, nope, I don't even believe in God. And I'm like, well, why are you going? Well, just in case I'm wrong.
That's pretty funny.
Not a bad program.
I bet there's a lot of people like your dad out there doing the same thing too.
Oh, I tell you, at least he's doing it. At least he, has that question mark still in his brain. But I'm here to tell you, get rid of that question mark and just believe. Because when you put your focus, your brain, on a belief in God, believe it or not, that opens the door. That opens that door that Christ was talking about into that consciousness. And so a lot of us, the door is so simple to open, and yet, it's our disbelief and our confusion that keeps us from even having enough faith, enough belief to open that door. So I'm here to tell you, open the frickin' door, would you?
Okay, I'll put that as the title of the report today.
Open the frickin' door.
Better than what Winston said last night, which I'm not going to repeat.
Don't repeat a lot of things I say.
No, I know. So look, one of the quotes you said, which I thought was really great, was, "We have already won." This is a real spiritual battle. This is not our battle, though. I mean, this is really the battle. This is a spiritual war, and we're on the front line. We're also being, I think, the war is over us. So it's we are the unwitting participants, I guess you would say, because we are at war. There's no question that we're at war, and you said that we have already won, and that's a very powerful statement. that we've
Yes.
already won. And it's really kind of just like, all the, this is like the cleanup job. It's like it has to, like, it's already been deemed in the higher realms that it's ordained, this is what is to be. And this is just, I think the big concern is the psychology of people, who have these beliefs about that our government would never do anything to harm us. People who really, I'm sorry, but that's a very naive way to look at life. And if you believe that, you'll walk right into the Nazi camps. You know what I mean? Because, unless you're playing an active role in how the government governs, then you don't know what the government's doing. And that they have been, as we see, Project Veritas this week came out with 3 undercover interviews showing that right now, at this very moment, people within our government are forming basically a socialist, well, they have a socialist organization where they're trying to undermine our democracy at this very moment. And this is toxic. And so the problem is that there's people who are that you say ignorance is bliss, but for the ones who are not ignorant, for the ones who are painfully watching what's happening in the world, so we have this social consciousness, this, let's call it media consciousness, where all of this is playing out. But you're saying that we've already won, that it's already a done deal, and just stop. Should we stop the battle? What about those who feel like they're on the front line? Has the war's been won for us by the higher realms, should we say? So that's what.
Well, let me kind of interject.
Please.
Um, you know that you have to know when you've won and stop doing things that are unnecessary.
Hmm.
And most people, I mean, they don't know when they've won, and they keep making the same war. And so Scott's right, you're right. The battle has been won already in the other dimensions,
Hmm.
but people in the third dimension who are not cognitively aware of that think the war is still going on, and so they keep acting as if they're in the battle.
Ah.
And so you have to know when you've won. And we have already won. It's just that people have their thoughts and so forth have not caught up with it. Now, there's something that's been pressing on me here for a few minutes. I mean, it's just absolutely pushing on me real hard, and I want to explain this, and I want Scott to tell us the technology, because he knows it, of how this would work. And that is that one of the great gifts of humans is that we are time travelers. There you go. Now, for instance, some have mentioned that when they go to bed, being hit upon by whatever. So the thought that I'm going to express, and I want Scott to stress.
Okay, let's put this on pause.
I can't hear.
Yeah.
Now we are.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay, there you are. There you are.
Okay. Hold on.
Luis says.
Hi, everyone. This is Louisa from the GoldFish Report. This is our 3rd attempt to do this interview today with Scott Warner and
There I did it again.
Winston
Oh, they do not want this message out there, Winston.
Okay. This is
Right side.
Gee whiz. Okay.
At least we're all 3 still smiling.
Yeah, well, we're recording. Hold on a second. I got to do something here. Okay, folks, so for 3 times we've been disconnected. We've been booted out of our computers. Somebody doesn't want us talking about this time travel. Let's try it again, Scott.
Okay. Anyway, I was watching Gaia TV with Corey Good and Emery Smith, and they were talking about, you know, the time travelers and how they'd come back and their health was better each time they came back. And, you know, they were saying how the scientists couldn't figure out why this was happening. And it's because they don't believe in God and the divine blueprint with which we were created. And so every time they would reanimate in this timeline, they would come back with a perfected divine blueprint and have better health. And so I've been teaching people about this because Saint Germain said that it not only clears our physical body, but it clears our auric fields and actually makes us more powerful as humans, because it clears out some of the clutter and crap. And so time travel is a very good way of healing and making us stronger, healthier. In fact, I take people to the source of where a lot of their diseases start out. Given an example is this guy, you know, he had a really tough time even believing in God. And I took him back to when that happened. And he was actually a disciple of Christ. And when they took and crucified him, he went into total fear and took off out of Jerusalem and started disbelieving everything he had been taught. And so we took him through that portal and made it so that he stuck around instead of leaving, and made a new timeline where he actually stayed, and he was able to talk to Mary Magdalene after the resurrection and went and saw that the stone was rolled away and that Christ had actually resurrected. And then he saw Christ and all the people who went through the ascension when Christ went through the ascension process. Yeah. And immediately when we brought that forward, his faith all of a sudden increased 1,000-fold, and he started believing again in God. And it was so powerful that he just felt this huge rush of energy in his body. And so time travel, even in our minds, works. And so whenever you're having a problem, Winston was talking about, you know, if you're having trouble sleeping, go back to a peaceful time in your life when you could sleep good and everything was beautiful and fine, and you'll find that you can sleep better.
Yeah, go to sleep during that time period.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how to do that? How do people do that? What do you say time travel? We're thinking we need these machines and Back to the Future and all this. What do you mean? Could you explain for our viewers?
Humans were created in the image and likeness of God. And when we were created in multi-dimensional bodies. So in other words, we're not just here in this third dimension. We're in all dimensions, in space, time, in parallel lives, in between parallel lives. I mean, that's why everybody wants to control us. Is they know we emanate the energy of God and we bring forth that energy of God. And so we have the power within us to actually create different timelines. Every time we make a choice as a human being, we are choosing not just a choice, but a timeline. Every choice we make creates a new timeline. So if you choose, if you decide to go left instead of right, you're choosing a different timeline as a human being. And so right now, all the bad people can choose to come back to God. It doesn't matter what they've done. If they choose to come back to God, God will accept them with his love. And, so this is an important message even for the cabal. they should choose to come back to God. Because if they don't, they're going to be reabsorbed and not have a personality anymore. They're not going to exist anymore, because God is love, and God has told me through Saint Germain that those who are unrepentant will not have a world. That's why they're trying to control this world so hard, is they don't want the earth to go through the ascension. They want to keep control of this earth in its third dimensional state. And that's why I'm saying we've already won, because it is going to go through the ascension no matter what they do. It's going to go through the ascension, and the humans who are ready to go through the ascension will go through the ascension with the planet Earth.
Okay, I'm sorry. We just had a momentary glitch, and it may continue. It may happen again, folks. And if it does, there's nothing we can do about it. Sorry, Scott. Well, you know, your points are very good. I like all of the quotes and all of the messages that you're really communicating, because you're talking about the peace of Christ consciousness, and you know, love as a frequency, love as a vibration, as an energy. And you keep saying we have already won. You know, the problem with the people of the dark who are trying to control and interfere with our lives, who've been enslaving us for so long, is that they're absolute psychopaths. I mean, literally they will not see reason, and cannot see reason, even if it's leading them to their own demise. And as you can see, that it's what it's doing. It's leading them to their own demise, and yet they still don't get it.
But there's psychopaths in the third dimension, or the third density.
Yes.
And so even they, if they wanted to remove themselves, you know, from this vibrational frequency, they could. And when they raise their vibrational frequencies into another dimension or density, would that same psychopathy exist there? And probably not. That's why Scott was saying they can repent, as we call the word, or if you don't call it. You remember Scott didn't see it, but you remember, Luis, a couple of times ago when I showed that grafting, with the vertical being, you know, the private, and the horizontal being the public.
Yes.
And where heaven and earth intersect, that's called zero balance. Okay. And then I showed you how, if you continue along that commercial timeline, if you want to call it that, out to wherever, let's say 5, if you wanted to recreate the zero balance, all you have to do is go vertical to do so. And this is exactly what we're talking about here for all of us on the planet and so forth. At some point, if you want to go vertical, which means go to God or go to eternal life or whatever you want to call it, all you have to do is repent and accept. It's not just to repent, you have to accept the atonement, or the at-one-ment, the atonement. At that point, you can go vertical, you can go to God, you can transport yourself out of time. Now, you know, sometimes we use that word time because we're just used to using that particular word. We might use the word instant. So at the instant that you repent and accept, you will go vertical, just like the thief on the cross. In that instant. And again, that's a suspension of time. Time, like Joseph Smith said, time alone is measured to man. Time alone is measured to man. When you get out of time, in that instant of repentance and acceptance, you remove yourself from time, whatever timeline you got screwed up. You remove yourself from that timeline, you go vertical like on that graph, and you go toward God. Now, you know, in just in high school, high school mathematics, I was trying to demonstrate that.
Yep. And you go towards infinity.
Yes, because
the grace of God.
as I have pointed out many, many times, zero and infinity are the exact same value.
Yep.
That's why we talk about, the physicists talk about the zero energy field.
Right.
That is infinity. Now, when we've talked about, making choices about this, and Scott had mentioned, when we make a choice to do this, do that, then we actually change the timeline we're involved in.
Yep.
Between here and source, there is an area that's called the Great Void.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now reverse your thinking on void. Between here and source is an area of choice where any and all possibilities are available. Any and all possibilities are available. And so because of free will, people use that facility to make a choice as to what their experience is going to be on this planet. Now, this we had talked about in times past, and maybe Scott hadn't seen this, but there's this psychiatrist. He's a hypnotherapist, and he can hypnotize people all the way back to soul. And they tell how it is that they go about choosing which life's experience that they want. And they can go back in time, they can go forward in time, they can go back and be a caveman if they want to be, or whatever. But the realm where all possibilities are available is called the Great Void. It's between here and source, and so that's how we make those kind of choices, because again, we are created for free will. It's up to us individually what choice we will make. If you have made a choice which is not to your best interest, to your highest and best good, how do you fix that? In an instant, you would repent and accept the prepayment of the entity that's known as Jesus Christ. That's how you do it.
That's right.
There you go.
Well, which is why I like to say that the battle is not ours. The battle's been won for us already.
Yes.
Via Jesus. So that's why it's this battle that we're having. This is spiritual battle, is already won, and it's
And,
our battle.
and that is the open door.
Yeah.
The open door is the choice to follow this being and to choose to come back into the love of God. And the love is a lot better than the crap that everybody's going through.
Yeah.
The chaos is not fun. It's very disturbing. It puts us into fear. It puts us into chaos. And that's where the darkness wins. And so my advice is choose that open door, because the love of God is peaceful. It's full of compassion, full of joy, peace, and bliss and happiness. And so choose happiness. My God, why choose the darkness?
Well, this is interesting. Thanks, Winston, also for adding to that, because I think that says things in another level. It's like a layer of an onion that you're peeling, and it's kind of like it sounds simple to some of us, but to some and others it doesn't. It's not simple. So it's good to hear.
Okay. Now let me interject here. As a mechanical help, and this is purely mechanical, that was that Germain had given Scott that affirmation. And that will raise your vibrational frequencies. It's mechanical. You simply say it a certain number of times and so forth. It has the effect to change the harmonics and the frequency in your third dimensional physical body. That's purely mechanical.
Yes.
All right. Now, once you have changed your frequencies and so forth, so that you no longer exist in a third density conflict. See, I'm not a part of this conflict. That's why I can say in this instant,
Right.
the battle has been won. Scott says in this instant, the battle has been won because Scott and I, having completed those kind of things, we've raised our frequency. We were no longer in that conflict. We went vertical. And so we took ourselves out of the time continuum where the conflict exists. That's what we have done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we did it mechanically. Anybody can do that. I mean, I've had so many good reports from people who have used that device
Right.
to simply raise their frequencies to the point that they're no longer trapped in that horizontal timeline where all the conflict, where all the war, where all those things exist. They simply said, okay, go to zero, change my frequency, bang, we're into something else. I think Scott's been shaking his head. Yes, maybe he can expand on that a little bit. It's purely
Well,
mechanical.
you're exactly correct. And when Jesus said, I am the open door, that's that vertical portal that we can enter at any time.
At any instant. Stop using that word time. Say instant, Scott.
At that instant,
There you go.
that choice.
Yeah.
It is a choice. We do have free will,
Yes.
but the only choice is to go through that portal, that door that Christ left open for us.
You guys froze on the screen. This is funny. And that door is that door. You see the expressions or it froze. And you're saying that door is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the door. And so now, I mean, I can understand that, but I've had moments when I have as well done the same thing. And there's times when the struggle gets very real here, and it does kind of bring you back down, so vibrationally. So I think that it's a very difficult dimension to be in. It's a very difficult reality to be in, because you want to see the changes, and it's very hard to be a higher vibrational entity and exist on this planet because of what we're talking about, because
Okay, in
you get
this
caught up and you get trapped
in the timeline you're talking about, it's going to continue on exactly as it is into infinity. You have to remove yourself from that timeline if you want to find the peace that Scott's talking about here. You have to remove yourself from that timeline. Can you do that as a time traveler? Yes, you can. And we have one mechanical thing that's quite simple that, Germain shared with us. He said, okay, he said, do this. And he says, then you can start going vertical here and get yourself out of this horizontal problem, which will continue on forever.
Very good.
If you stay in that frequency, you're going to be forever and ever involved in conflict war. See, it was like years ago, the U.S. military, who was using all this remote viewing, all these kind of things, they sent remote viewers out to look into the future, see what things were like. One remote viewer came back and said, "Oh man, it's terrible, man! Chaos, floods, hurricanes, and just terrible destruction."
Uh-oh, not again. We totally lost Winston on this one.
I said, "No, he's."
All right, guys, we're under attack here.
They went and looked.
Time. I don't know if you can hear me, but the internet totally is getting ready to bomb out again for some strange reason. So I just wanted to, I think we made our points clear today. We tried so many times to get this report done, and I have no idea if we're going to make it.